Welcome to the CAD Builder video tutorial series. In this video, we're going to show you how to choose your settings for your framed and frameless construction shelves. First, we can start by opening our design. Once we get our design opened, we're going to want to click on the Construction Methods tab. Once you click on that tab, we can go ahead and select the Trial Framed Butt Joint Full Overlay option to start. Within the construction options, you can navigate down to the section labeled Shelves. Within the Shelves tab, there will be 5 options to choose from, as well as the Shelf Nailer section. The 5 shelf options are Simple Shelf, Fixed Shelf, Adjustable Shelf, Drawer Stretcher, and Closet Rod. Each section will have similar settings. Depending on what shelving you use in your cabinet, you're going to want to navigate to the appropriate section. The most commonly used shelf is adjustable shelves. Adjustable shelves refer to the shelves whose location can be manually adjusted by the client through the use of either shelf pin line borings or shelf standards. In the Adjustable Shelf tab, go ahead and click on it to open its submenu. Once you have the submenu expanded, you can see the selection starts with default shelf thickness, marking the expected nominal thickness, which is usually 3/4 inch. Next, it will ask you what your alignment to front reveal will be. You will have the option to select above reveal or centered on reveal. In the box above the selections, it will also show highlighted in green a small example of the change you are making. Moving down the list, the next item to define would be your space from the front of the cabinet. This is measured from the front of the shelf to the back of the face frame. The next option would be to decide whether to add a shelf bullnose or not. A bullnose is a piece of hardwood attached to the front of the shelf, so if you are planning to add edge band, then this should be disabled. If you choose to use the shelf bullnose, you will have a second option for the bullnose alignment. Within the bullnose alignment, you can make it flush with the top and bottom of the shelf, flush with top and extended down, or flush with bottom extended up. The second and third options allow for a custom bullnose height, whereas the first option matches the height to the thickness of the shelf panel. Next, you will have to choose your grain direction. There will be a grain direction selection for normal, along the face, or along the side, and then an additional option for diagonal cabinet grain direction. After you decide what grain direction you will be using, you will then need to select if your finished face orientation will be face up or face down. This only matters if your shelf material is single-sided. The last selections are going to deal with banding for the shelf and bullnose. In these selections, you can choose where the edge banding is applied, left and right sides, the face side, the back side, or on the internal side. Next, we will take a look at the fixed shelves, which are stationary shelves typically used in pantry or appliance cabinets. They are intended to separate inside openings and are also covered by mid-rails in framed cabinets. Similar to the adjustable shelf section, you can set the default thickness and the alignment to front reveal, above reveal, or centered. You can then set the position related to the frame rail, and then set the space from the shelf front to the cabinet front. Again, as with the adjustable shelf, you can add a bullnose edge and set the alignment. Then go ahead and set the grain direction for either a standard cabinet or a diagonal cabinet, and now set the finished face orientation. Next, you can choose where to apply shelf banding or bullnose banding. Now let's take a look at the simple shelf. These are also stationary shelves, but more intended as replacements for adjustable shelves with no mid-rail separating them. Here you will have the same options as we looked at for the fixed shelf, but it will not include the option to set a position related to the frame rail. So the options available are set the default shelf thickness, alignment to the front reveal, specify the space from the front, whether you want a shelf bullnose, and then set that alignment, set the grain direction, both for standard cabinet and for a diagonal cabinet, set the finish face orientation, edge banding preference, and lastly, bullnose banding options. Typically, edge banding or bullnose is needed for the simple shelves since they are not covered by a midrail. Now that we are through the shelf settings, the last three sections deal with shelf nailers, drawer stretchers, and closet rods. For the shelf nailers, you can determine your nailer thickness, the nailer width, and whether you want to add them to your fixed shelves or simple shelves, and lastly, if and where you want to apply edge banding. Next will be the drawer stretcher section. In here, we will start by defining the default drawer stretcher thickness. We will be using 3/4 inch here. You will then need to define the alignment to front reveal. This setting is more relevant for frameless construction since it dictates where the drawer stretcher is dropped relative to the front reveal. We recommend having it centered for both the drawer stretcher as well as the fixed shelves. Next, you will need to define when to use a drawer stretcher. In the right side box, you can select between no drawer stretchers, add top stretcher only, or add all stretchers. In the box above the selections, you will see a preview of the changes when you select the appropriate bubble. Please note that this sets where they appear in default cabinet constructions. If you create drawers from scratch or move the opening dimensions, then the stretchers must be relocated or recreated. After you decide if you will be using drawer stretchers, you will next define the width of the stretchers. In this instance, the default will be 4 inches. Once you define the stretcher width, you can choose the finished face orientation. In this case, we will have it facing up so you can see the finished side when you open the cabinet. Last will be if you are going to choose to band the stretchers as well. The last section for us to review will be closet rods. First, you will have to specify the distance between the front of the cabinet and the center of the pole. Standard is set to 6 inches. After you determine the depth of your closet rod, you will then determine the minimal side clearance. In conclusion, you can see that CABBuilder has provided a variety of shelving types along with many default settings to choose from to assist you in your cabinet build process. They have made it simple to edit these to your preference and apply them for your cabinet shelving needs. Thank you for watching. To view additional video tutorials, please visit www.cabbuildersoftware.com/training.